Dino, how did we end up 3 weeks into this war with Iran with no clear resolution in sight? It seems like
Iran has canceled plans of attacking California after seeing that Gavin Newsom already destroyed it.
The President of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at...
Is this man okay? Did I hear him call Gavin Newsom the President of the United States? He said this man is dumb, but you think you're so smart? Mentally, this man does not need to be in that position. He's calling someone else dumb, as if he is so smart. Am I wrong? He's calling someone dumb and that they have dyslexia. But what makes him so smart?
White people, come get your cousin, bruh.
With a low IQ person, because Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think a president should not have learning disabilities, okay?
So it's a little unfair. You win a war, but they have no right to be doing what they're doing. But we're hitting them very hard, and today is a big day where we're pounding a certain area that has very much to do with the Strait, and I think we'll get it going very soon.
Oh my God! The President of the United States just said, after attacking a country and that country now retaliated, he said, it's unfair. They shouldn't be doing Nah, this is insane.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people are still not fully understanding the situation that we are in when it comes to the war in Iran. I'm seeing a lot of very smart, very well-informed people saying that Trump should just declare victory and fall back.
I really think Trump thought that Iran was going to go the way Venezuela did. He thought he'd be able to drop a few bombs, take out the leader, and then they'd put somebody else in that he could deal with. What I want to know is who told Trump that, because whoever told Trump that needs to be fired. And if he came up with this idea on his own, he needs to be impeached just for being that dumb. Because anyone with a quarter of a brain could look at just the geography of Iran and be like, oh, invading this place is a really, really bad idea. And look at the structures that Iran had put in place in case their leader got taken out, because they had already put in a command structure where you could take out most of their leadership and they would still maintain control of the state, because they knew it was a possibility that someone was going to take out most of their leadership. So Iran is ready for this war. And I'm not saying they could win a straight up war against the United States of both armies getting in a line and flashing it out, but that's not how war works. All Iran has to do is survive and make the war cost the West way too much money, which they are very much so succeeding in. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Gas prices are already on their way up, and they're saying gas prices could hit $200 a barrel. And that's the end of the American empire.
So we're fighting a proxy war with China right now.
It's a world war. This is a world war. I believe the reason the Iranian missiles have been so effective in damaging our bases, and boy, have they done a doozy. It is not being reported accurately. They have done a real doozy to these bases. It's because of the fact that the Chinese are providing direct real-time signals intelligence to the Iranians.
Mr. Carlson and his guest are wrong here. American bases across the Middle East are hit not because China is supporting Iran in targeting Americans, but because America miscalculated Iran's resolve to retaliate and instead concentrated all its missile interceptors to defend Israel instead of American soldiers. Historically, China has not provided military support for conflicts outside of its immediate neighborhood. During the Syrian civil war, China supplied medicine to support the army of Assad in holding against the rebels in 2013. During the Russo-Ukrainian war, China supplied industrial materials to Russia to help its wartime economy. Iran is fighting an attritional war as well as an asymmetrical war against the United States. The objective of Iran is to survive against the American onslaught. Providing medicine and industrial equipment will help Iran to achieve this goal. However, China will provide military support to Iran if America decides to use this conflict as the opening shot of a border Cold War against China. The ball is in America's court.
Botswana has had to deny that it has American military bases. It seems like having American military bases is now a dirty word. It's something that countries are now becoming quite wary because they now know that having those bases, you ultimately become a target. And who knew? Just merely 2 months ago, nobody knew that America would literally shift its position from the top of the world to a dirty word. A word, when uttered, it basically means, you guys, what the hell are you doing? And of course, by America, I am talking about Trump, the leader, and those people who support him to put him in government. I am not talking about your ordinary Americans who are struggling to make bills ends. You are just like the rest of us in the world, oppressed by the billionaires.
This reminds me of a Chinese proverb, one of the oldest. 未雨绸缪. Literally, it means secure the nest before the storm. So originally, it tells a story about birds that secure its nest before the storm comes. But the person who wrote the poem is an emperor in Zhou dynasty. This is before Confucius' time, about 1000 BC, so 3000 years ago. So that emperor was trying to tell whoever is come after him that the way to manage a country, the way to manage the resource is about preparation before the disaster comes. So people take that into heart. Okay, so how China prepare for the shortage of oil? By buying a lot of oil before the price goes up. China probably has reservation that can last hundreds of days. Okay, one of the technology that recently developed was to use empty mine. You know, when you mine someplace, you leave a lot of space in the ground, right? Like caves underground. So you just put oil there, right? So, of course, you need some kind of process. But that's a technology developed just to store more oil before the storm comes. 未雨绸缪.
Did y'all see that message that Iran left for President Trump? Oh, wait! Count me out.
A message to the President of the United States. The outcome of war cannot be determined by tweets. The result of a war is determined in the field, the very place where you and your forces do not dare to approach, and you can only talk about it in your tweets. It's better to name this war as epic fear instead of epic fury.
Now, I wonder if President Trump got that message. My man said epic fear instead of epic fury. Honestly, how does one respond back to that? They want to see boots on the ground instead of seeing tweets. Did he call that man a keyboard warrior? Count me out. At this point, I don't even know what to think. But did y'all see that shit? As always, inquiring minds want to know. How do y'all feel about this shit? Is that a direct message or what? Or is someone going to say it's AI?
I don't know military strategy, but I do know petty bitch standing on business strategy and game recognized game. That's what I see in Iran. Walk with me. And so the United States and Iran been beefing since like forever, right? And so Donald Trump's like, hey, let's meet, let's talk about peace, let's talk about how we're gonna move forward, because by no means can you have these weapons, and by no means am I gonna allow you to have these weapons. And you know this, I know this, but I just need us to get in the room to confirm this. And Iran was like, okay, whatever, I guess we could meet. So all of the Iranian leaders come, they get in this room, they waiting for Donald Trump to show up, but Donald Trump don't show up. You know, show up, his missile, he bombed that room and killed all the Iranian, not all of them, but he killed the important ones. Anyway, so Iran was like, oh, this is what y'all doing? So Iran started bombing everything around them, started bombing all of the United States friends. And everybody is like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Iran is going with the scorched earth method. Why are they attacking people that's not attacking them? And Iran is like, because you allow the United States to have military bases in your country. So Donald Trump gets on the phone with Iran and is like, hey, buddy, I know I was just joking last time about a ceasefire, but this time I really do mean it. So I think we should talk about a ceasefire. Iran is like, oh, I bet you do. Click, because at this point Iran is like, if I give in to you today, we just gonna be fighting again in 6 months. And even if this is not a war I can win, during these battles, I'm gonna bring everybody down with me as I can, because I'm leaving here with something. I don't think that this is a fight that Iran is going to let go of easily, because they are tired of playing the games with the United States. And I think Donald Trump is really on this. He finna F around and find out the hard way, which really means the United States citizens, us, we really finna F around and find out the hard way. And I really don't want to F around and find out, but sometimes you gotta let people touch the burner so they can know that it's hot. Yeah.
You guys, we got some major news about the Iran war, and I think this changes the entire conversation. So The Guardian is reporting that 2 days before the US-Israel started bombing Iran, there was an active negotiation happening in Geneva, and the British National Security Advisor was in the building watching it go down. And what he saw was Iran putting something on the table that apparently surprised everybody in the room. They agreed to get rid of their highly enriched uranium stockpile, stop building new ones, pause enrichment, and in exchange, they wanted most of the sanctions lifted. The British team thought it was a real progress, and they were expecting a follow-up round in Vienna on March 2nd. Obviously, March 2nd never happened, because Netanyahu and the orange turd decided to bomb Iran on February 28th. Well, here's the part that will make you even more angry. The people that was running US side of the talk were Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. Either of them, or neither of them, brought a single technical expert with them. The UK literally sent their own guy because they didn't trust the American team to know what they were doing. And one diplomat who was in the room told The Guardian, and I'm quoting here, they regard Kushner and Witkoff as Israelis' assets that dragged a president into a war he wants to get out of. So, a deal was on the table, and we just fucking walked away and started dropping bombs on them. Awesome.
Russia is now making fun of the United States and how they miscalculated when it comes to Iran, which is kind of ironic because the point that he's making here is something that we've all made about Russia. Let me go ahead and explain. This is coming from the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who said in a statement, quote, "If they thought they could subjugate Iran in a day or a few hours, they probably realize now just how serious they miscalculated, how wrong they were." Russia, obviously a very big supporter of Iran, buying weapons from them, providing them intelligence to hit US bases, is pointing out the fact that the United States thought that they were going to be able to go in a few hours, strike whatever they need to, and then the Iranian regime would have said, okay, US, we're done. What do you want us to do? But of course, if you look at that scenario and you flip it and you exchange Iran with Ukraine and the United States with Russia, that is exactly what happened back in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. They thought they would take it in a few days, then 3 weeks, and then now it's been over 4 years. So while, yes, Russia is making fun of the United States right now, we can all kind of just turn around and be like, oh, yo, dude, that happened to you. And it's 4 years now. 4 years. And you still haven't won the special military operation.
Dino, how did we end up 3 weeks into this war with Iran with no clear resolution in sight, it seems like? Yeah, how does something like this even happen?
From what I understand, well, first of all, it's a miscalculation, right? You didn't think what we're going through right now that they want this to drag on this long with gas prices, oil prices, energy prices globally going through the roof and creating all this chaos, right? So it's obviously, to me, I'm no freaking, political advisor in the White House, but it was a miscalculation. From what I read, again, this is stuff that I've been reading, I've been following, just reading a lot and listening to a lot of things. From what I understand is when they put the plan together, they were trying to, from my view, they were trying to copy or do what happened in Venezuela. You see, you take out the leader out of it, and then all the underlings now move up, right? And you hope that they're fearful for their position, that they capitulate and then they cooperate with us or with the West, whatever you want to call it, right? But what happened, from what I read, is they identified, like when they went and bombed all the leadership, they had identified like these are second or third tier people that likely will come up and maybe they're going to be more friendly to us. But guess what happened? They killed them all. The attack they did got rid of everybody that they thought was going to be second and third and fourth tier or whatever that could be the new leadership. All of them were hit. That's why there's speculation right now, this new Khamenei's son right now. There's no live picture of him because they're thinking that he was also badly injured in the attack. Because when they attacked leadership like groups that they took the opportunity to attack because they thought they were congregating together and they hit them all. And they actually hit the people they thought would be the ones that would step up and they wanted to go make a deal with. So now that's why it's in disarray. I think that's where the misjudgment happened. And then they completely didn't expect the response like this because look, they hit the Soleimani a while back, the head of their military, right? And then they did that thing at where they hit the nuclear sites and took everything out. The response from Iran was limited.
Right.
They lobbed a bunch of missiles and they stopped. And so maybe they had a false sense of security when they planned this, thinking, they're not really going to do anything. But look at what they did. They freaking started attacking all the countries around there, closed down the Strait of Hormuz. And now I'm sure that was part of the game plan, that was part of like the response, but they didn't take it seriously. And now the Strait of Hormuz is shut and they can't open it. And now we're trying to ask other countries to come and join in and help us escort vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. You know what I mean? So I think it was a complete miscalculation. Overly optimistic, way above ahead of their skis. And a lot of things now flying around from what I read is, I told you so. A lot of people saying, don't do this because you can't underestimate their response. And look, 16, 18 days into it right now, it's still going on, right? And it's causing turmoil everywhere. And what do you think the Iranians are thinking? We're going to keep doing this because public sentiment here is dwindling. No one supports this war. Everyone's going to the gas pump. You can't gaslight people when they drive up to the pump and they're trying to fill their cars or trucks or whatever and look at the price. Right in the middle of a high inflationary period when everyone has an affordability crisis. So you think the Iranians are going to capitulate? No, they're going to keep doing this until politically we have to capitulate because midterms are coming up, so on and so forth. All that's in the calculus here. Don't forget that, So I think they completely misjudged this. That's what I think.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people are still not fully understanding the situation that we are in when it comes to the war in Iran. I'm seeing a lot of very smart, very well-informed people saying that Trump should just declare victory and fall back. And I don't think people realize that that's not an option anymore. It really hasn't been an option since the war started. Why do I say that? Because he is stuck now. This war is on Iran's timeline, not ours. Let me explain. You see, for Trump to declare victory and stop the war, first he would have to get Iran to agree to a ceasefire. And Iran refuses to agree to a ceasefire. In fact, he has called and asked for a ceasefire 3 times now, and they've refused every single time. And for Iran, refusing the ceasefire isn't out of some sense of zealous suicide. It actually makes perfect sense for them. You see, last year in June of 2025, Iran, Israel, and the United States were in negotiations for their nuclear program. In the middle of those negotiations, Israel launched a surprise attack on Iran, killing several of their generals and destroying infrastructure, military targets, and some civilian targets. Iran responded by firing their missiles and activating their air defenses. And the Israelis quickly realized that they bit off a little bit more than they could chew. Iran had far better military capabilities than they honestly had expected, and they were a little overconfident. After 12 days of intense warfare between Israel and Iran, Israel asked the United States for an out. Trump did a largely symbolic bombing of one of Iran's nuclear facilities, and then got them both on the phone and declared a ceasefire that Iran agreed to. Fast forward to this year. Once again, Israel and United States and Iran are in negotiations about Iran's nuclear program. And once again, in the middle of those negotiations, this time Israel and the United States together launched a surprise attack on Iran, killing their leader, killing several generals, killing one of their former presidents, and bombing the hell out of Tehran. Now, Iran doesn't see a point in a ceasefire. Why do a ceasefire if you're just going to attack us again next year or 6 months later? Instead, they feel that their only option is to reestablish deterrence and make sure the United States and Israel are never in a position to attack them again. And so they attacked U.S. military bases in the Gulf states, U.S. allies, and they've been attacking Israel. And they've closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the biggest issues here. Roughly 30% of the world's oil goes through that strait. And so our economy literally cannot function with that strait being closed for more than a few weeks. So Trump is in a position where he cannot end this war unless the strait is reopened. Problem is, there's no way for him to reopen the straits unless Iran agrees to do it. Well, why doesn't he send his navy to reopen the straits? Because as we established before, Iran has far better military capabilities than people realized. You send U.S. Navy ships into that strait, you will lose ships. Period. So as hard as it is to believe, the United States does not have the military capability to force that strait open. So really, that only leaves him with two options. In his minds, the options are either A, capitulate and defeat, or B, bomb them until they cry uncle. Problem is, in warfare, bombing them into submission almost never works. It didn't work in Vietnam. It didn't work in Lebanon. It didn't work in Gaza. So Iran knows time is on their side. All they have to do is keep that strait closed and keep up military pressure until the entire world economy collapses. Something like that might take a few weeks, might take a few months. Hell, it might even take a year. But they are very confident that they can handle anything that the United States can throw at them as long as they keep that strait closed and as long as they keep military pressure on Israel and United States bases. You see what I mean when I say it's different? The United States does not hold all the cards here. Iran does.